Hey guys, sorry for the shadow. Sorry for the goats in the background. So, coming up, and by the time this airs it will have happened, is my wife's birthday. So I decided that I am going to make her something cool. And it starts with these pipes. So, all of this is black steel pipe. It's in these packages. I got that thing there. Got two of everything. Because what we need to do is see if these fit that. Because we're going to make a lamp. So, this is quarter IP, and this is a 1/4 inch pipe to 1/2 inch pipe bushing. And look at that. That thing's screwed right in there. I mean, it's not going too deep, but it doesn't have to go that deep. Now what I'm planning to do, and I can talk about this because she's not here right now. What I plan to do is take a couple of mason jars, punch a hole in the top, these brackets here, this here is a light base that I purchased, and it takes that 1/4 IP in it. So this fitting will screw into there, and I'll put a jam nut on top of it so that this doesn't wiggle around. And then my positive and my neutral hits those screws right there. Then this will go through the mason jar lid and lock down on the other side of it, and all of that will screw into there. So I got the mason jar lid clamped, and I've got a shorter model of that. I'm just using the long one to show you. So that goes in the mason jar, and then you screw a light bulb in there, put the mason jar over it. That's the current plan. But before I can achieve that plan, I need to tape off all of this, tape off the screws and stuff, and tape off the internals, and I want to paint this whole thing black. Just like I've got to paint all of these pipe pieces black. So I think I'm going to go ahead and assemble these in the fashion that they will be. So when I paint all of this black, the paint will, because this will be, I won't have to really remove any of this because it's 1/2 inch pipe. Once I tighten it down, and it doesn't got to be super tight, I'll be able to run one of my fish tapes through there and pull the wire in. See that there? And that will attach to this board just like so. I'm going to have a border around the board, and I'm going to do a French cleat back so we've got some place to hang it. And I plan to 45 this and do a wrap around so it makes this look deeper than it actually is. So I can do my probably 3/8 of an inch thicker, so I can do a 3/8 inch plywood French cleat on the back. That's the current plan. Stay tuned, we'll watch how it goes. First coat done. both assemblies. So you see how that kind of speckles right there? The second coat will cover that up pretty good. And then I'll do one more coat. Alright guys, so I did a little work off camera because it was too dark. And the sun's out right now, so I'm going to adjust this real quick. That's better. I'm kneeling down. So I got the board pretty well done. I put a 45-degree angle on the main board and then gave it an edge where I did 45-degree cuts on the top. And then I included in this trim a French cleat catch. So I'll put a French cleat right here on the wall, and this could just hang up and go down. Okay? So there's that. Now, sorry about that. So what I did, in order to give it a like a rustic look like this, I chucked up a wire wheel in my drill, and I ate out all of the softwood in between the hard grains. I just ground all that out with a wire wheel, dust and all that stuff. And then I painted the whole thing white. Then I come back and I sand it, and that's what gives it this rustic look. So all that is sawmill marks, because this was rough cut lumber. So those sawmill marks, and then as I sand it, it really brings out those sawmill marks. So I've got to sand the sides that I did last night. I wire wheeled the edges, and now I've got to sand it. And I got my screws painted, and I got my fixture painted. So I'm going to start. I got to shellac this. This is my last warm evening for a little while, so I'm going to get the shellac on these two panels and get this side sanded down first. Stay tuned. So there's going to be, sorry about the audio change, I had to switch cameras. I'm inside now, and what we got here is our lamp cord. So that I chose for brown. I'm going for that old rustic look, so I went with brown. Okay, this shows how your wiring diagram is, so that you guys can wire it up. What I'm looking for is which one of these wires they say is our so here it says neutral wire is the ribbed side. So if we look at this, one of these wires has little ridges in it and the other one is smooth. So we want to hook our neutral to the ribbed side of this. So I've already drilled holes in the bottom of my board. We'll take this, we'll feed it up through this bottom, maybe. I drilled the hole kind of small so that it doesn't wiggle around in there too much. up there, out through the hole, and I'm pulling out a bunch of extra. This unscrews off of here, like that. We'll set that aside, and we'll feed this up through the 1/2 inch pipe, hopefully. So it's usually better to twist these ends together. We'll untwist them when we get done feeding this wire through, and give it kind of a downward bend so when it hits that elbow, it'll go on around the corner there. Maybe. I may have to take the reducer out here. So I got these little brass nuts that hold all of this mess on. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to get a pair of pliers. We're going to take that out. Stand by. Alright, I got my gigantic crescent wrench. See if we can take it out with that and not tear the paint up too bad. So this isn't for water, so it doesn't got to be leak proof. So we feed that up into there. Come on. Pair of my strippers have a grippy piece on the end, and I might be able to get in there and get that, but I might not be able to. There we go. Okay, so that's out. Put this back on. And that through there like so. Thread this on there. Big old crescent wrench. I just put a little something on it to keep it from unscrewing itself. Because ultimately, when it's in the home, it's going to vibrate around, and you don't want it to vibrate itself loose all the way. So this, I've got electrical tape over these little screws so that whenever I paint it, I could not paint the screws, but if you look at those screws, you've got one silver and one gold. Your silver is where that neutral is going to go, and like the instruction told us, the neutral is the ribbed wire. So what we got to do first, put our cap back on. Put our brass nut back on. That holds everything snug. Open this back up. Give those a twist. Now we're looking for the ribbed wire, which is that one right there. So we want to run this down through the center here, like so. Loosen our screws up. And that's not easy to get done. Bear with me. So I loop it under like that, fold it around, take the screwdriver, press it through this little crack so we get a nice wrap around that screw. Hold our finger underneath there and screw that bad boy down. Now we do the same thing with this one. Now whenever you wrap this around the screw, you want to go with the screw direction so that when you tighten it, it doesn't come off of the screw. See there? Just like that. Now we need to pull this through a ways until we can thread that on. Oh no, I forgot to do something. I forgot to do something very important. Forgot to put my jam nut on. But I think we're okay. See, all you got to do is make sure there's a gap between this and the stub. I don't like it. I might have to redo that. I don't like it. You can also put fork connectors on these little wires. I don't have any. So put the jam nut on there so we can tighten the jam nut down and we don't have to push all the way through this little gap right here. Sorry, I couldn't get that in the camera. Now we got to redo this. Oh, that makes it hard. Don't unscrew the screw all the way. pliers. Tighten that up. And there's that. Now we need to make sure our cable in here is good. And that's how that will bolt down, right in that vicinity. Now I've got to square everything up naturally, but let's go ahead and install the switch. So we'll pull this up here. And I want this switch to be about a screwdriver's width from the head. So right in that vicinity is where we want the switch. Let me mark that. Hang on. So we're about here, just about so. And there's no exact measurements for it. That's about where I want the top of my switch. Now my switch is also supposed to be antique looking. Even though it's a brand new switch, I want it to be antique looking. So this switch, I want the top of this switch right at that mark, so it'll be about like so. Okay? So on the back is how to wire it. According to this, we cut what would be the hot terminal, hot wire, or the 120 volt positive wire, which is the one with the printing on it that's not ribbed. If you remember, we talked about the ribbing. So we take our knife and put it in just below our mark, and we just press it in, just like so. And now once we've got that in there, we know how far we want to split this, or should I say we want to stop splitting this right there. I don't know if you can see those two marks. I got a mark here and a mark here. And that should be where the wire separates. And you want to be careful not to go outside of that, because then it'll start to walk up and down after you clamp this on. We'll open this up. Oh no. Flat screwdriver, Phillips head. I'll be right back. The screws are pretty long. That's what the inside looks like. So you'll take your hot wire, one here, and the neutral will travel along the back. So it'll be in there just like that. So what we want to do is we want to cut that right here in the center. Got my handy dandy wire cutters for that one. It doesn't got to be exact, it's just got to be close. Take our wire strippers and strip this back. If you don't have wire strippers, you can use a utility knife or just about anything, any kind of cutter. Make sure you twist your wires. Always twist your wires right-handed. I'm going to spread this back a little bit because it's got to go like so. And I'll be able to twist that neutral in there to take up that slack, just like that. Need to strip this one just a little bit more. I want to make sure that where my on and off is. It doesn't say. I don't have an on or off signal, so because I want up to be on, I think we're going to wire it. Oh, yep, it's right here on the side. On is up, off is down. So we're good there. So that one I put on the front side over here. This bottom screw I'm going to put on the back side of the screw, because like I said earlier, you want that to wrap around the screw whenever you tighten it. I'm not happy with that one. Really, if you can drop a bead of solder on these wire ends, that'll help hold that fray together. I'm not sure what those goats are doing over there. Somebody's definitely making some noise. There could be a dog, I guess. There we go. That looks better. Oh, I got my insulation under it. There we are. Okay, there's my two wires there. Now we'll tuck this hot up underneath here. I'll push it down a little bit. Both ends. And pull this neutral and give it a little curl. Like so. Put it down in this crack so that the pressure is on the neutral wire, not the two loose hot wires. Does that make sense? I hope it does. Makes sense in my head. Like that. I'll put this cover back on. I know that was probably hard for you guys to see how I did that, but I don't know. I'm doing what I can with what I got. There we go. All right, now the only thing is to plug it in and test it. All right, so I ran to the house, got a LED light bulb. Here's my switch, and I did wind up putting it on backwards. I'm plugged in over here. I'm not getting shocked or nothing. Ta-da! Now, this is built so that a mason jar is your light dome. Just like so. That's pretty cool, isn't it? Now, I've got to finish bolting this down, make sure everything's square, and then it'll be ready. One more to do.